On today's episode of Titus and Tate, we are at war with the Sacramento Kings. Enough is enough. I am disgusted by what has transpired, Tate, and we have to call attention to this. The Sacramento Kings have taken Kyle's guy. They've taken Kyle guy from us, first of all, which is already like
I'm upset.
I'm upset about that. That Kyle
but he's
guy,
still on a pro team, is getting paid, so we're okay. We let it happen.
I wanted him to be a Virginia.
Us for Kyle.
I wanted him to be a Virginia forever, but that's okay. That's how it works. You have to graduate and move on. But then Tate, this guy Kyle Draper, this was his first season calling games for the Sacramento Kings. I looked this up. He announces on the Kings' final game this week, and it was Sunday, right?
Yep.
That Tyrese Halliburton is, quote, Kyle's guy of the year.
Yes. Graphic and everything.
And I just wanted to start out the show by mentioning that. So there's an ongoing war with the Sacramento Kings.
Unfortunately for us, Kyle guy tried to throw down a windmill in the same game. It did not go down. So it's tough.
Yeah, it
wasn't a good day for the brand.
It was not a great day for the brand, but we're here to fight another day.
Our segments are public domain. Our guy can't throw down a dunk. What's going on?
Speaking of NBA stuff, your beloved Charlotte Hornets, my beloved Indiana Pacers in the play-in game on Tuesday.
And it can't even be the 7-8 game, you know? It had to be 9-10.
It's the single worst play. There's no one's gonna watch this. No one's gonna care, but we're gonna care, and we're gonna be locked in.
I'm
maybe.
ready.
I don't know. I'll check the score with like.
I got my Hornets stuff on. Honestly, I cared on Sunday, and then Bradley Beal just ripped my heart out. I was fired up.
I'm going to check the score halfway through the fourth quarter, and then maybe I'll throw it on if it's a good game. Here's what we got to talk about today. Mac McClung to the NBA. He is gone. He is leaving college basketball. He is Kyle.
Pour one
Speaking
out.
of Kyle Guy leaving us, Mac McClung is a
We're losing all of our bits
that we have loved on this program for a very long time. He announced on Monday.
Riff Raff's cousin to the NBA.
He is going to the NBA draft. I guess we should say the NBA draft because it remains to be seen whether he goes to the NBA. We have Patrick Baldwin has committed to Duke. We haven't talked about this yet. Not to Duke, to his dad. I'm sorry, to his dad in Milwaukee.
I was like, what do you know?
There's still time. There is still time. He did not commit to Duke. That is why this is a story. We were under the assumption, as most people are, that
everybody
he's a 5-star. Has
Duke
on
was.
That he was going to Duke. He says, no, I'm going to the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee to play for my father. And then what else is there to talk about? Kentucky continues to collect transfers and 5-stars.
Yes.
And
Calipari is making memes
your
now.
best player, your best
J.
coach.
Cole's
I'll take them
album.
all.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's where we are. Things are happening.
And finally, we have Andy Katz on.
Yes.
He's back on the program to discuss all the happenings in the offseason, everything going on in his life, kind of, in the world of college basketball. All of that coming up, but first.
Woody Durham.
Andy Katz coming up in a little bit. First, we got to talk about Mac McClung, who announced today, we're recording this on Monday afternoon, Mac decides that after putting his name in the transfer portal, when Chris Beard left for Texas, and we certainly thought, the two of us, and I don't know if the world at large thought this, but we thought, he's probably going to Texas. He's probably following his coach to Texas. Maybe Mac thought that. And Chris said, you know what? We're good here, Mac. You've served your purpose to me. Whatever it was, Mac McClung pulls his name out of the transfer portal. There's celebrations all throughout Lubbock, I assume, that Mac McClung will be back. He will be playing for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And Mac McClung today said, not so fast. I am officially signed with an agent. I'm officially going to put my name in the NBA draft. And it's an end of an era. It's the end of a Mac McClung era.
Mac McClung said, I think it's time I go all in. And that's what, we wanted him to do from day one when he got to Georgetown, when he was playing for Patrick Ewing. And then he goes and plays for Chris Beard. He has a great season. You mentioned Texas. He had a game winner against Texas this year. So there was a little bit of, can he really join, the Longhorns after this, long, laborious relationship that they had for 3 months. But
I think the answer was yes, by the way.
I think it was yes.
I think if you've paid attention to what's going on in college basketball, throw out everything.
Yeah, that you've ever thought about.
That you ever, everything you've known about college basketball, throw it out. Forget it. No. Certainly that part of it, the idea that in-conference transferring. I mean, that's Wheeler committed to Kentucky today too, as well. The leading scorer of Georgia last season. Shaveer. How do you say his first name?
Shaveer.
Shaveer.
Yeah.
commits to Kentucky from Georgia today. He was their leading scorer last year.
Pretty sure he beat Kentucky with Georgia this year. I'd have to fact check that, but
and
I'm
then he
pretty
commits
sure
to Kentucky, and that's not like that part of it almost doesn't even register. It does, but it's more of like a trivial thing rather than like a, oh my God, this is insane that he's gonna. How can you cheer? How can you now go from like it's just part of what college basketball?
Just to give a Tobacco Road example, Garrison Brooks, the preseason ACC Player of the Year, and NC State's Shaquille Moore, who was the face of their team, they now are teammates at Mississippi State.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
That's where we arrived with this. But Mac McClung. Going to the, I guess like from a standpoint of his draft stock, you might say that this is another thing I guess we should say in this world of college basketball we live in. Guys declaring for this is certainly not a new thing this year. This has been going on for like 5 years. But guys declaring when they're not necessarily first rounders, I think the outside world might look at them and say, "This is stupid. Why would you do this?" And this is the modern college basketball situation, which is that a guy like Mac McClung may not be a first rounder, probably won't be a first rounder. If you're basing your decisions to go or not go, you would say you should definitely come back to school and improve your draft stock. But I think it's smart in this sense, Tate, that Mac McClung, I don't think is going to improve. Like he will improve, you know what I mean. But he's not gonna. There's nothing that if you're a pro scout and you've watched Mac McClung to this point, there's nothing he's going to show you next year that he hasn't already shown you, right? Like he's kind of a finished product of what he is, and whether that's good enough to play in the NBA or not, I don't know. Obviously, he's going to get better. Obviously, he shoots threes. He's going to improve his three-point shooting. His playmaking will improve. Like that sort of stuff will improve. But who he is as a player at his core,
we know who Mac McClung is.
We know who he is. Yeah. That's who he is, and he's nasty, and I love him.
He is
and
not
I'm
White
sad
Iverson.
And
I think that was his introduction to the world. In fact, I think a lot of people think that Post Malone made White Iverson about Mac McClung, a guy who eclipsed AI's scoring record in the state of Virginia, who then goes to Georgetown, who's supposed to be this superstar in the making. Obviously, things change. He transfers. He has a great year at Texas Tech. But I think the good news for Mac McClung is he's not expected to be that transcendent talent, right? That is the relief if you are Mac McClung. And the other relief is you want space. NBA, that's all they talk about is pace and space. So it does feel like a game where it fits him a little bit, and he will have moments. I can see Mac McClung having a highlight where he throws down a windmill and everyone's going crazy.
Yeah, down by 23 in Sacramento on the last day.
Kyle,
what are you doing?
Don't let him take your spot.
Kyle, listen, when Kyle Guy lost to UMBC, and he wore that, he absorbed it. He spent the whole offseason, and he came back a better player and won a national title. So I assume he's going to take this missed windmill.
He was laughing about it.
He's going to take it.
Halliburton, Kyle's guy, he was collapsing.
What if this Mac McClung decision is less about his professional career in the National Basketball Association and he's not doing this because he envisions a world where he's getting minutes for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's getting like 7 minutes a game for the Grizzlies or something. And he's doing this because what he wants more than anything is to be the new Jack Cooley and dominate Summer League.
Yes.
And he is.
That would be a good answer.
What if Mac McClung comes out and signs like a 10-year Summer League contract where it's like, I'm committing to the NBA that I will be at Summer League for the next 10 years, and they're going to pay me like, I assume the NBA would pay like $40,000 a year.
I mean, whoever's advising him did a good job because his quotes are great. He said, I don't want to test the waters because I want to show that I'm not a 1 foot in, 1 foot out guy.
Right.
So if you're an NBA team, you read that, you're like, I love this guy's moxie.
I'm cannonballing those waters.
I love the grit. And Mac McClung right now, I think in Summer League, he could have moments where you convince yourself, this guy could be a star for me.
Yeah, I think this is the play, Tate. I think Summer League was made for Mac McClung. I'm excited to. What is Summer League going on this year? By the way,
it has not been decided yet.
This is the time. I think maybe Mac just decided it for the NBA.
I think
like we have to bring it back for Mac McClung.
I kind of would like the idea of like a late summer, like a kind of Labor Day type Summer League situation where we get like late August, September. You're not competing with the NFL. You're letting that happen, but you also have some cool storylines going over here. You go for your 12-month, out of the year conversation. So I hope that happens. That would be nice. But fingers crossed, knock on wood.
As we say goodbye to Mac McClung in college basketball as an amateur, where when you look back on the Mac McClung experience, one of the great all-time mixtapes, one of the great all-time recruitments of the internet, where you're not even really sure if this guy exists as I had no idea how many stars his recruitment was. I just knew that he was like he existed in his own world, if that makes sense. He had hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers. He was like basically
Seventh Woods.
He was T-Jazz.
Yeah, he's T-Jazz. Yeah, exactly.
Like you don't even know if he's good at basketball or not. You just watch these highlights and you're like, I don't know if this translates or not, but like I'm so locked in on what this guy has going on. Where, as you look back on, you mentioned Seventh Woods. He's certainly one of them. And then there were guys who like actually played in the league. Like John Wall had an amazing mixtape. I remember him being awesome. Derrick Rose.
I mean, there's
OJ Mayo was awesome.
Yeah.
Who's the kid? Who's the little kid? Akil Carr, was that his name?
Yeah,
do you remember him?
Yeah, Akil Carr is the one. Yeah, that
everyone loved.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember watching his, and I was like, this.
That was kind of like the end of my mixtape era, where I would be false fronted because Seventh Woods. I remember watching that, and then I went and saw him play at CP3's camp, and it was him, Junior Smith. They were like dunking on each other back and forth, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is the next Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
And then Seventh Woods was just the fully formalized version. Sometimes you hit your peaks at different points in your life, and I think Seventh is still a great guard, but we expect him to be Derrick Rose.
Is Seventh still the mixtape god?
I
don't know how you frame it, but like
I mean, the Hammond jersey. Like when I think of a mixtape in my mind, and I was like coming out of high school at that point, so it wasn't like one of the earliest ones I saw. I mean, I remember. I mean, I played against John Wall in middle school. He was dunking.
Are you in the mixtape?
No, I hope not.
You're like the Zion thing where the kids clapping in Zion's face.
We were playing Word of God, and you're just like, man, these are God's army right here because they're throwing alley. He and CJ Leslie, you're like, this is unbelievable. But in general, I think like Seventh Woods somehow, because like the younger kids, like the Gen Z, whatever we call them, they know Seventh Woods too.
Yeah.
You know, they like look at him as if he's like LeBron.
Right.
Like I'm just hoping I can pop off like Seventh Woods did. So
Seventh Woods is like he will always be a legend in my mind just for the mixtape alone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like,
he's going to come back to South Carolina, by the way. He will be back in college basketball.
Oh, that's
That's
good.
the rumor, at least.
That's so good.
Not confirmed.
So where does Mac McClung rank amongst all those in terms of like as fast forward 30 years and you say the name Mac McClung and you're an old man, you're like, whew, how hard of a whew. Sit down, youngins. Let me tell you about this kid. I remember when he was wearing the Iverson jersey and cocking back dunks and the fate. Like I went back, by the way, and I watched one of the mixtapes from high school. It wasn't just the plays. It wasn't just that he was crossing dudes up and hitting step back threes and dunking on people.
Yeah.
He was such a character, man.
Yeah.
Like he still is. We know that, and he's gonna be awesome. We're gonna follow his pro career.
He has toned it back a little bit.
He's toned it back. Like he's getting a little more professional, whatever. But like he did a lot of the Russell Westbrook, that video where he's like, who is this guy? He was doing that a lot. His theatrics were so good. Like that man was made for.
He was White Iverson. That's
he was
what I'm
White
saying.
Iverson, dude. He was like made
stepping over people.
If you could make a perfect specimen for like what will grab my attention in a mixtape, it was Mac McClung. And so for that reason, I'm gonna answer my own question first before I let you talk.
No,
I guess.
please.
He might be number one for me for like the mixtape experience of watching this and just being like, I don't even know if this guy is going to play meaningful minutes in college basketball. I don't know if he's going straight to the pros. I don't know if he's like a mid-major level recruit. I have no idea. I know I love him and I'm going to follow him wherever he goes. That's what I decided when I was watching Mac McClung in high school.
It's not like a Julian Newman. Isn't that the kid's name? It's not like one of those situations where you're like, you saw him when he was.
That's what I thought Akil Carr was. He's like more Julian Newman.
Exactly. And you expect this person. I mean, T-Jazz is kind of in the Julian Newman world. I guess Newman's better. But you never know where they were going to be recruited. At least with Mac, I remember once I saw he get offered by like Georgetown and some of these other Virginia, some of these other schools, I kind of realized that he was for real. Then he broke AI's scoring record.
Yeah.
We care about state scoring records here. We're high school basketball fans. So when he did that, I knew he was legitimate. The only thing that I will say is I wish that the Georgetown iteration of Mac McClung, I wish that would have panned out because I do think then I would have a lot more reverence for the situation because the kid that broke Iverson's record then goes to Iverson's alma mater, balls out. Like if he won the Big East tournament, it was Mac McClung leading this year, then to me Mac McClung is I'm talking about him
like,
and going, kids, take a seat. Let me tell you what Mac McClung did.
Right.
I'm not sure I'm going to remember the Texas game. As I talk about his career. So
I think it worked out for him. He was the best newcomer in the Big 12. He certainly had great moments. Texas Tech had a fine season. And
compared to what you expect, I mean, Seventh Woods, the game that I talk about was 16 points against Gonzaga.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not one of those situations.
You know, like, so I think Mac McClung transferring, I think you look back on it and say, I got what I needed out of that. But us as fans, us as people that just want we want every decision that all of these players make. As that's what college that's how it works in college basketball media. You don't want the players to make decisions for themselves. You want them to make them for us.
That's how the fans work.
That's how we work.
Yeah.
And the decision for us would have been Max stays. You suck it up. I don't care how miserable you are at Georgetown. Go back for the memes, for the stories, for the storylines. Win the Big East tournament.
Yeah.
But it worked out for both parties.
It worked
Georgetown
out for
won,
everybody.
it worked out for everybody.
Everyone's
So you
happy
take
at the end. I'm just saying,
I know what you mean.
in my made-up world, I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, it's a what if.
Yeah.
It's a fun what if.
And it's a very, nostalgic take on it. I just wanted him to be at Georgetown.
So hopefully we get at least one summer league experience. I have to believe we're gonna get more than one.
We're getting one.
I have a feeling
What
Mac
do you
McClung
mean?
is going
He's
to
gonna
summer
be
league.
back.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
He's going to summer league like 4 years.
If I am Mac McClung's advisor, I'm saying we're gonna go hire, Drew Hansen, and we're gonna get in these skills.
Drew Hansen.
What's his name?
Drew Hanlon.
Drew Hanlon. Chris Hansen.
We're gonna take a seat right over
We're
there.
gonna get Drew Hanlon, and we're gonna work on just individual skills. We're gonna build up that left hand all day, and then we're gonna go over to China, and we're gonna watch Jimmer, and we're gonna say, Mac McClung, this is what you do. You come in, you watch Stephon Marbury tapes, and you watch Jimmer tapes over in China, and you go to the Beijing Ducks, and you try to be a superstar. That is my pitch to Mac McClung.
You want to talk about your Coachella jersey? One of my favorite things you've said is Johnny Juzang.
Oh, the
jersey at
Coachella jersey, yeah.
Well, that's one of the funniest things you've said on the show. Let's go to Coachella. You're wearing the Johnny Juzang UCLA. I'm wearing the Beijing Ducks Mac McClung.
I'm telling you, the Ducks thing will be a hit.
We're letting it rip, dude.
I mean, the Beijing Ducks is, probably valued over some NBA franchises.
I mean, I'm buying that jersey. I am buying that jersey. So,
oh man,
we wish you luck, Mac. You're always welcome on this program if you're listening. If anyone
he's come on the show twice.
He's come on the show twice.
Yeah.
We want to get him on again at some point. Maybe if Summer League happens, we'll show up at Summer League and you can be our new Duncan, dude. Because Duncan's not going to Summer League anymore.
Dude, can I just quickly say I saw the list of the least amount of offensive rebounds in a season, and of the top 5, it was Duncan was on there twice, JJ Redick's on there twice, and Tony Snell's in the middle. Those are the top 5, and I was dying laughing. Duncan, get a rebound. I call it offensive rebounding. That's who he and JJ are. They are offensive rebounders. They don't even try to rebound. They are offending me by the way that they don't attack the glass and follow their shot. You're offending me. Go get a rebound.
All I hear is Tommy Alter's wheels turning, trying to figure out how to do a
how to make a segment
with
yes.
Tony Snell. He's like, we just got to get Tony Snell into the fold, and yes, we'll have the entire empire. Yes. Oh, Matt, come back on the show. You'll always be welcome. We love you. God bless you for what you brought to amateur basketball for your run, and now go make some money and sell some Beijing Ducks jerseys.
730,000 Instagram followers. That's in every article I saw about Mac McClung going to NBA. I don't know why that matters, but congratulations, you did it. You did it.
What else? Do you want to talk about Instagram? Let's talk about a program that cares greatly about Instagram.
Yes.
It is the Duke Blue Devils.
Yes, the influence.
They keep tabs, as we know, on the documentary they made with the Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish team, where Zion famously never took his shirt off in the pool. As we all remember, there was the deal they did with ESPN. They had I'll never forget seeing that board in there where they were tracking all the top Instagram accounts and all the top Twitter followed accounts in college basketball, and Duke's number 1. We have more Instagram followers.
They hung the banner that summer.
Any other college basketball game. So this caught my attention because I wanna bring this to your attention because we talked about Coach K on this program a time or two. You have famously said that you think maybe perhaps perchance Coach K might be doing a farewell tour this year. Maybe not. I don't know. I won't put words in your mouth. You can agree or disagree with that sentiment. But I don't know if you saw this, Tate. In the last week, Jordan Goldwire, future Oklahoma Sooner legend Jordan Goldwire, said that he was asked point blank, who do you think should take over for Coach K? And his answer was Jon Scheyer. And how does that shake up the Coach K power rankings? What is that? Is that a blip or is that a bomb on your radar? Where are we now?
That is a coach that is in the machine, getting foot soldiers on the ground, you know.
Okay.
And Jordan Goldwire, I almost called him Jonathan Goldwire. Jordan Goldwire spent 4 years at Duke. They were a fast 4 years, but he wants to be reminded as, you know, this tenacious guy, this tenacious guard at Duke that, you know, represented what they view as Duke basketball. And I think he does at a very, very high level, honestly. Basically, he says this because Scheyer, he's very close to Jon Scheyer, and he wants Jon Scheyer he wants to put it out in the ether. Let's see what the reaction is. Let's see what people are thinking. Jon Scheyer, for the people at home, he thinks he is the next guy.
You think so?
I know so. Jon Scheyer, in his mind, is going to take over after Coach K retires.
I don't disagree with that. But how many other people exist in this world that also believe the exact same thing?
I think that Coach K has convinced him that is why he is being so loyal. That's why he's sitting next to him. He is the Brad Stevens of Duke. He saw Brad Stevens up close and personal, but he won that game. Brad Stevens didn't. And then everyone says, Brad Stevens, he didn't play in that game, John. He goes, shut up. I don't care about that.
Brad Stevens guarded me in 2010. I gave him buckets.
and I do think that is going to be what actually happens at Duke. I think it's going to be Jon Scheyer versus Brad Stevens. I think that is going to be the battle to see who's going to be the head coach at Duke. I think those two guys, and I think Jon Scheyer is building the foot soldiers of the players that came through this past era. So he has Zion that says, I think Scheyer should be the coach. He could be the coach. He was really close to me, and he helped convince me to go to Duke. And then RJ Barrett says that because he plays on the Knicks. Yeah. And then the Goldwires of the world that are probably going to be calling games somewhere in 5 years, they're going to be saying, I think Jon Scheyer should be the coach. So regardless of what the timeline is, Jon Scheyer thinks he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And the person that's going to get in the way of that, as we know, is going to be Brad Stevens. So there's going to be a 2010 national championship showdown to see who's going to be the next head coach at Duke. And I think Coach K picks Brad Stevens.
Can I just say, you're probably right. Yeah,
I think Jon Scheyer, I think his head explodes.
Yeah.
I think he walks into the room and he thinks that Brad Stevens is going to get told that he's not the head coach.
Yeah.
And he's kind of smirking off in the corner, being like, K's my guy. He's got my back. And then he goes, Brad, you're my guy.
With John in the room.
Yes.
I think John comes into the room. They're on speakerphone.
Yes.
They call Brad.
And then Brad Stevens looks at Nolan Smith and says, I want you to be my top assistant.
No, I was going to say Kay makes that announcement as John is like melting in his chair. And then he turns and he's like, on one condition, Brad, that you name John your top assistant.
Yeah.
And then John's like, okay, I guess I'll take it.
Could you imagine? There's no way. I think that that's going to be the craziest. If Coach K, you ask me, if it is his last year, which I think it probably will be, might not be this year, might be next year, but within this 2-year window, I'm saying probably 2-year window. His grandson is at Duke. I didn't know this, and he graduates next year. So 2-year window when he leaves. Jon Scheyer right now jockeying for position.
I love it. I love it.
Headlines.
Can I just say, whoever asked Jordan Goldwire this question,
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I want to call on all of our media brethren to make this a thing now.
Who's next?
If anytime you're talking to anybody that has any affiliation with Duke, please ask them who's next. I need factions. I need like some people. I need I need a Grant Hill faction.
Yeah.
I just want people to start throwing out Grant Hill's name, and then suddenly like Grant Hill has like 7 or 8 guys that he played with, or you know, and they're saying his name.
I need like a Keith Smart, Jeff Goodman, Cherokee Parks faction. That's just like completely erroneous that nobody would ever take seriously, and he throws that out there. Like Cherokee Parks should be the guy. I want that too. I want all that. I want it to be this whole conversation.
But I need to know where everyone stands. I want everyone on record. I need Baddier's opinion. Badia, who's going to take the job?
I'm on record. Jon Scheyer will be the next head coach.
All right.
I'm on the record.
Like that.
And if Brad Stevens is the next head coach, then I've also said that before. So if you find that record and you play that one.
Respectfully, I want the Duke people. I need the Duke people.
Yeah.
Tate. I need
the Iron Dukes is what they call themselves.
Yes. I need Kentucky's La Familia. This is the brotherhood. The brotherhood. I need the brotherhood. I need Kyrie. I need all these guys.
Yeah.
Say who you want to be the new coach, and we draw the lines in the sand, and then we can turn it into content on the show.
I'm in. Let's do it.
All right, that's enough. Let's talk to Andy. How about that?
Perfect.
Joining us now for an off-season checkup is our good friend Andy Katz, and I guess we'll do a college basketball off-season check-in. But before we do, Andy, we got to do an Andy Katz off-season check-in. What is it that Andy Katz does in the off-season? What are hobbies? What are you up to? How are you filling your time? What's going on?
Is it pickleball? I feel like it's pickleball.
No, I haven't graduated today yet. A lot of tennis.
Oh, nice.
Played a lot of tennis in the off season. I migrate to Rhode Island here soon.
Ooh.
So we have a place in Newport, and we belong to the Hall of Fame there. So it's a lot of tennis. It'll move from indoor to grass.
Love this.
And That's where a lot of my non-basketball time will be spent.
What is your tennis attire? What is,
well, and on the water. And the water. I love paddleboard.
Stand up back. What do you look like when you play tennis? Are you a headband guy? Do you do a lot of sweatbands?
All
How
white.
short are the shorts? We got neon colors in there.
What brand do you support?
It's usually a backward hat.
Okay. Andy Roddick.
You know, I don't. Well, obviously, I'm hoping that we're after next week won't have to wear a mask anymore because that's annoying. Playing with a mask on, and my son actually he's a sophomore in high school. He had to play his whole season in a mask. And that's an outdoor sport.
Yeah, that's
but
weird.
I digress. I have a sleeve because on my right arm, even though it has healed, I had a little bit of a tennis elbow issue a summer ago, and now I'm just
now
like AI, and I just wear it to wear it.
I like that. I like that.
And then,
I'm the AI of tennis.
then it puts in a t-shirt.
I'm the AI of tennis.
I love this. The sleeve is a nice touch.
Yeah, it is. It is. I like it. Let's talk about college basketball. Let's start with maybe it was kind of the biggest news for us the last week or so because we were trying to figure out what the hell this means. And you're the expert. You're the guy that knows people. You're the guy that has the Rolodex. Talk us through this new Pac-12 commissioner. Who the hell is he? What does this mean for the conference? Where have we fallen? Because when it was initially announced, I turned to all the media brethren to try to understand what this meant, and everyone seemed to just look at each other and just be like, "We have no idea."
Yeah, who has the
Who is
take?
this?
Yes.
We all none of us know what to say here.
All right. So first of all, and forgive me, George, if we have met, because I don't remember if we did, and maybe I did. I don't know, but clearly he's got a very interesting resume. I think the most impressive thing of the last week was that no one broke the story up until literally, minutes before. I think Ralph Russo from AP had it first, and then John Wilner from the Pac-12 hotline there at San Jose Mercury News. I think they were the first two, but it was within, minutes. And that's unprecedented because he wasn't on any list. And in fact, he said that at the beginning of his news conference. But look, I think this is different than the Larry Scott hire where, yes, that was outside the box. He came from WTA, whereas George is coming from, yes, MGM, but at the same time, his background in television says to me that that's their focus, which it needs to be, because the biggest complaint about the Pac-12 network has been its reach, its distribution. And, the Pac-12, whether they liked it or not, probably should have tried to partner up the way the Big Ten Network did with Fox, the way the SEC and the ACC networks did with ESPN. But they tried to go their own way, and it clearly was not the correct choice. So now, where are they going to go? Is it going to be in the tech hub of an Amazon, a YouTube, a Google, something of that nature? Maybe, but they're going to need, obviously, someone who's very savvy in the television space in the next few years.
Hulu has live sports.
Hulu, TikTok. I love the idea of just like Hep Cronin having his own
Sports
little
on
corner of
Prime.
TikTok. What about he's coming from MGM? That stood out to me because obviously gambling in the last 10 years, 5 years, whatever the timeline is, sports gambling in this country has gone from the seedy underbelly where you kind of talk about it if you want to seem cool amongst your friends. You're like, I gamble, I'm a bad boy, I don't care. To now it's every sports show that exists, you have to know the line to everything. Every app that has every score. It's gambling has become a part of the culture in American sports. And his ties to MGM tell me or make me start thinking as someone who knows nothing about this, but I'm just connecting dots, Andy. Do you envision a world where whether it's the Pac-12 or others, we are moving towards a point where there is going to be some sort of marriage where gambling is no longer. I can't believe I'm saying these words out loud, given the long history of point shaving in college basketball, for example. But do you think there will be a point where this is above the table and it's gambling is a part of college basketball? We embrace it as an NCAA. we show the lines. You can go to an NCAA tournament game and they're showing the lines of the game. Do you think we'll ever get to that point? Like, do you think this George Kliavkov is the first step towards that?
Yes, and I think we're inching our way there. And I'll just use myself as an example in that, you know, when I first started doing stuff with March Madness, in year one, I didn't do a bracket. And I know we don't put the lines on the bracket, but it is a form, if you will, of gambling, even though it's sort of at a base. But to make weekly predictions, and like I said, I don't do it with the line, but I'm still making a pick. I do a bracket show on the March Madness platform. And so even though I'm not doing it with the lines, I'm still making predictions under that umbrella. And I think that is another way in which things have changed and they're going in that direction. Will I be asked to do it against the spread at some point? Maybe. That hasn't happened yet. But clearly, the fact that I'm just using myself, the fact that I'm doing it at this stage under that March Madness headline, I think says something.
And it does seem like if the NCAA is cut in, if it's like a big DraftKings deal or something like that, then we're more prone to have a situation where it's inclusive rather than like, cast to the side. As we're talking about the Pac-12, Andy, I do want to talk about, because Titus and I were talking about winners and losers of the offseason. And I think UCLA is one of those teams where there's such a winner. Everyone's talking about how great Mick Cronin is now. We do it on this show. We're privy to that. You got Peyton Watson, a 5-star coming in. You have the Johnny Juzang mystery. Will he? Won't he? Could he come back? If he does, are they the number one team?
They don't really need him, but if he does
they're
back,
over the top.
Oh my God, yeah.
How much of that PR is going to help the Pac-12? Because it does seem like UCLA can be a banner school in basketball now.
Yeah, I think that, and I've been doing a weekly thing that clearly you're not paying attention to, but that's okay. Of sort of my roster winners, Andy, every week. And I had UCLA as one of the winners, I think like 2 weeks ago, when they picked up Miles Johnson from Rutgers, because I think he is maybe one of the most important transfers in the portal for that specific team.
Love that.
As we all watch, Cody Riley had to do everything by himself inside, and they needed another experienced big, and I think Miles Johnson can deliver that for him. Rim protector, finisher, and he's like the perfect fifth-year guy because he's a great student, really good, high character, will cause you no problems, and he can play, and he fills a void. So I think that's like the perfect guy for them to fill in. Tiger Campbell's back. Jaime Jaquez, we know, is going to be back. Singleton will be back, and we'll see on Juzang. To me, they are a top 5 team, with or without Johnny. With them, they can win the national championship. We'll see how all the other guys fit in, the newcomers you just mentioned, and Watson. But I think they're one of my big winners. I will also add that if I can jump ahead here, just rattling these off in no particular order. Gonzaga's a winner.
Okay.
As they could, think about their recruiting class right now. Chet Holmgren, Hunter Salas just picked up Noel Hickman, let alone Andrew Nemhard and Drew Timme are coming back. I think Indiana's a big winner because right now Trace Jackson Davis, I think that's monster. He could be preseason Big Ten Player of the Year. And then Miller Kopp, I think, will be better served at Indiana than Northwestern, where there's not that pressure on them. So if Indiana's guards come through, I think they're a big winner. LSU, getting Adam Miller is a big plus. Kentucky now with the news of getting Ty Washington and Shavir Wheeler, so they're a winner. Villanova getting their guys back. Richmond senior class. I like what Houston did. I love that Oklahoma got the Groves brothers. I think that's perfect, after Eastern Washington, what they did and playing for Porter Moser. And then, the other just sort of 2 schools I would just throw out there is Houston. I thought they did really well. And Maryland. Maryland, I'm really high on because I love Fats Russell and I love Qudus Wahab. And I think those other guys are going to come back. So it's a little bit of a hedge here. But I think that their guys that declared for the draft ultimately will come back. and Maryland's going to be right there to potentially win the league.
I think Maryland's problem was they made all their moves. It felt like way too early in the process. Like the season ended, and it felt like Maryland, like Russell and Wahab and Turgeon signed an extension, and all these things happened like immediately. Whereas Cal is being smart about this.
He's letting
Cal
it linger. Yes, he's staggering it out. Yes.
He gets like a new guy every week. And there's another reason to talk about
Always
Kentucky.
win the headlines in the news cycle.
And
Yes.
he's kicking the kid. Speaking of all these commitments going on, I'm gonna do this exercise with you because in the off season, one thing we have to do is we have to look at.
Hey, can I just add one
go
thing?
Ahead, of course.
Ben Howland.
Right, one thing. No, I was just going to say one thing. Yes, he did a great job, obviously, with leading off with Garrison Brooks. But I would just say one other thing about the assistants, because we don't talk about this enough. While there was so much hype about Kentucky poaching two guys from Illinois in Campbell and Antigua, I think you just mentioned Qudus Wahab. I think getting Danny Manning, Mark Turgeon's former teammate,
that's a good one,
was a great hire. And think about Wahab. He's going to be coached by Patrick Ewing and Danny Manning.
Insane.
I mean, if that doesn't get ready for the NBA, I don't know what does as a big man.
I can't wait to have Wahab on our show after this season and ask him who was better.
Yeah, who's the better big man
coach? Just watch him freeze. His connection's not working. Well, no, before I get to what I was going to ask you, what about losers? So you had 100 winners on your list. What about basically anybody who added a player in the offseason we know is a winner? What about the losers? Who are the big losers, and why are they Illinois and Texas Tech, would you say?
Okay, so I'm not trying to be, evasive here, but I want to wait to see what happens at a couple of these schools. I do think Rutgers, has taken a hit by, as I mentioned, losing Johnson. I haven't seen so far them replenish the way they need to. I think Iowa, while they did get Bohannon back, losing Frederick, and I think they could lose Wieskamp. I think he'll probably stay in the draft. That's a major hit that I don't think they're getting the replenishment back. So, those are two schools in the Big Ten. Obviously, Texas Tech was going to get raided, and then we saw on Monday with Mac McClung's decision. That's a gut punch for Mark Adams because he was hoping that McClung was going to be, sort of an anchor for him. So, yes, that's definitely hit. Oh, the school I didn't mention, of course, that's a big winner, not to go back to the winners, but it's Texas. Texas did an unbelievable job, obviously, with the transfer portal, and then appeared at a blank check for his staff.
What about I mentioned Illinois. You already brought up them losing their assistants. I am slowly talking myself into it doesn't look great for Illinois right now. They're losing all of their assistant coaches. Io's gone. Adam Miller transfers basically because cha-ching, I guess, is why he transferred. But I'm slowly talking myself into them circling the wagons, and Curbello's back, Trent Frazier's back, and
I like the backcourt a lot. Yeah.
Underwood gets that backcourt, and then he just talks to, and he just hypes them up. And if Kofi's back, they could actually circle the wagons, say everyone is counting us out. I'm your only coach now. We have no assistant. Underwood doesn't even hire any more assistants. He's like, this is it. We just the guy. They don't even recruit anybody else to fill in all the spots that they're losing.
He does all the jobs.
And they're saying, this is it. We're rolling with what we got. To hell with the haters. Let's go compete.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you right now that I have Illinois finishing anywhere probably from 1 or 2 to 7 in the Big Ten. Because first of all, I really like their backcourt of Curbelo, Trent Frazier, and DeMonte Williams. Those three guys, 2 of them are fifth-year guys, and then Curbelo, you could argue at times, was their sort of unheralded MVP last season. The big unknown is Kofi Cockburn. It is surprising to me that he's not all in the NBA draft. Now, deadline technically, to get in is May 30th, to withdraw is July 7th, but I kind of figured it was a no-brainer that he would be all in, and he's not. At least not yet, which causes me some pause. Wait a minute, maybe he really is thinking about this and coming back for one more year. Because, I've had NBA scouts tell me kind of both sides. On one side, is he a little bit of a baby Shaq? On the other side, what else can he do in the NBA besides dunk? And how often is he going to be in that position? Can he develop his game outside? Could he need another year to do that? and really become a lock, somewhere in that first round. So that would be interesting. The other thing, by the way, the Ohio State University.
Yep. Go on.
I have to mention them.
Go on.
Near and dear to your heart. In that one, very interesting that they got multiple players from the Big Ten.
Yep.
Jamari Wheeler from Penn State and Joey Brunk from Indiana, who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kyle Young, I think, is one of the unheralded returnees of the super seniors.
Yep.
Because he was as good as any player in the Big Ten tournament before he was out with the concussions symptoms. He had 18 points in 19 minutes against Purdue before he had to go out and didn't finish that game. And then they lose in the first round, as we know, to Oral Roberts.
Thank you, Andy.
And if they get back Dwayne Washington and E.J. Liddell, that's the big if. But if they do, they're going to be really good.
Andy, thank you so much for pointing out that Kyle Young was not playing in that game. We were not at full strength. I feel like no one else is talking about this, and that needs to be brought up. As you're telling me Kofi Cockburn might come back.
He's your DeAndre Hunter forever.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Like, we would have obviously, who knows what we could have done if we were at full strength.
Well, I picked Ohio State to go to the Final Four, so
I did too. You talking about Kofi Cockburn coming back? My mind is just flash forwarding to December, where Kofi Cockburn is taking jab step threes.
He's shooting like 27%. This guy's unbelievable. Yeah,
he's bricking them all, but he's just trying to show the scouts like I can do this.
Let's see where the Shaq goes.
I mean, are you surprised that he's not all in?
Yeah, I am, because he feels like a guy that honestly, I say it respectfully, but like I don't know how he's going to get better unless he does do that. Like that's my fear, is that he's going to come back and be like, I have to drastically
defensive
change
slide
my game.
drills is what he needs after the Krutwig game.
Yeah, but I don't see how he's gonna, like, the problems that ail him, which is basically that he's massive and he can't move his feet that well in certain contexts. I don't see how he's gonna like practice that and get better at that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm an idiot. We'll see. We'll see if he gets better. So
But did you think he was going to be immediately all in the NBA draft?
I did.
I did.
Yeah,
and it hasn't happened.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I did. I thought he was definitely gone. I thought him and AO.
People probably still don't believe that he could come back. I feel like if we're having this conversation, Illinois fans might even have checked out and said, Kofi's gone.
Don't even entertain it. I want to ask you this, Andy, because we've talked about some of these recruits coming in and transfers and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things we do in the offseason is we look at the macro. We look at college basketball as a whole. We put our finger on the pulse. We figure out, is this sport dying? Where's the wind blowing? All that kind of stuff. So I'm going to give you a list of decisions that have been made, and you tell me which one is the biggest data point, like caught your attention as like, oh, that's interesting. That might be where we're headed in the future as college basketball. So we have Chet Holmgren to Gonzaga, which tells me that like Gonzaga is a bona fide heavyweight recruiting power. Like now we have to take them seriously amongst the Dukes and Kentuckys of the world.
Blue Bloods.
Efton Reed to LSU, which tells me that Will Wade is never out of anything ever. And we always have to consider if a guy puts out 3 schools as his final list.
If Will Wade sends you a Zoom link, it's over.
Yep.
He's going there.
Patrick Baldwin to Milwaukee, playing for his dad, the family connection. CJ Frederick to Kentucky, tampering going on with transferring. Wheeler to Kentucky, an in conference. You brought up the 2 guys going to Ohio State, but I think Wheeler's the more notable example of a guy going in conference, leading scorer of a team, transfers in conference. And then finally, all these G League kids who I don't even know their names and no one else will, and who cares about them, but they're apparently announcing they're going to the G League. Which of those examples are you looking at as saying, like, that caught my attention as something that is going to continue to happen as we move forward here?
Do I have to pick one?
Or just a couple, whatever. I don't know. Riff, do your Andy Katz magic and take that pride.
Touch on all those.
So the Gonzaga thing is, I think, incredibly significant because of the timing. They obviously have now put back-to-back years from Suggs to this class of elite top 10 talent from high school. They're doing it right on the heels of losing their top assistant coach, Tommy Lloyd, to Arizona. So I think that's significant that they're just sort of blowing through what you would think would be these obstacles that could come right at them. And now, yes, they have blue in their uniform, which is not a prerequisite, but it's hard to argue against them being a blue blood at this juncture with 2 national championship games in the last, 4 or 5 years, 17 and 21. The Efton Reed one was significant to me after the fact, and I'm trying to remember who had this. I don't know if it was Zagoria, but someone wrote that he was told that the games in the overtime elite, do I have that right? The name of the league?
Yes. The prep
that
school.
Kevin Ollie's going to be in.
Yeah.
We're going to be against going to be against other prep schools. And with that being the case, that obviously didn't do anything for Efton Reed. And he chose LSU for whatever reason, chose LSU. And I think that is significant because I will say this forever. And you guys agree with me on this. I know because we share the passion that Jalen Suggs and Evan Mobley and Cade Cunningham, we can go down the list, have benefited, will benefit financially by at least playing one season in college basketball. Zion Williamson clearly benefited from playing. Doesn't mean they wouldn't have gotten money out of high school, maybe a deal or two, but there's no question that the amount of exposure that you can get, and we saw the ratings for non-football, and the two Gonzaga games were 1 and 2 in the last year, UCLA game and then the Baylor game. The exposure you cannot put a price tag on, and nobody cares about the G League except for those playing in it, and anyone playing in it does not want to be in it. They want to be out of it as soon as possible. Okay, even the coaches, they want to move up. So you're in something that no one wants to be in, and for longer than 6 months. So no one knows who these people are except for the scouts. And then, obviously we'll get to know them at some point. So I'd say those are the two that jump out at me the most.
Yeah.
Was the examples you threw at me. Gonzaga and Efton Reed.
Okay.
And what about Jalen Green coming out and saying that if he had played college basketball, he would be the #1 pick? I thought that was great for college basketball. That was probably the worst thing for the G League. Your #1 guy comes out and says, I wish I would have played college basketball. So not dead yet.
Not dead yet. Is there anything else that we need to hit on? I mean, the name, image, likeness stuff. For the love of God, like I feel like it's deja vu. That I feel like we're stuck now in the FBI cycle where for 5 years it felt like
everyone's just wait and see.
Where you'd see a headline and it's like Arizona is busted. You're like, weren't they already busted? Like what is going on here? Like haven't we already done this? And I feel that way with the name, image, likeness stuff. Where I saw like headlines today about name, image, likeness situation, and I'm like, have we not already?
Yeah.
I thought California passed a law like 2 years ago.
Remember when Gavin Newsom signed the bill on the shop?
Yeah, that changed everything.
Yeah, that changed everything.
Where are we with this, Andy? Like, what is going on?
Well, I mean, there's no way Congress is going to act between now and July 1st. No way. I mean,
on anything.
I'd like to probably do an infrastructure bill first and fix some, bridges and roads.
Yes.
Which you would argue is probably more important. So I think that's going to. The chances that happens, I just don't see any NIL bill coming through Congress. So now you have state legislatures. They're clearly doing their own thing. And what I do think will happen between now and July 1st is I think sometime in June, there will be an emergency board of directors meeting, emergency legislation to pass nationally some sort of NIL. Because I don't see how the organization, the member schools, want to be in a situation because they otherwise will be, where some states have it and some don't. Yeah. So I think there's going to be some form of national NIL through the NCAA legislation by July 1st.
There we go.
Wow.
All right. I like it. That's
and you've already seen schools like Arkansas. They've already built a division out for NIL stuff. I mean, North Carolina's doing that. So
I'm so excited for like the August 17th headline that I read that the NCAA is once again not discussing name, image, likeness right now. We are going to visit, and it's a Mark Emmert quote. It's like, we will revisit that in 3 months at our next meeting.
But guys, can I just throw one thing in? Is I do want to caution that I hope these schools are judicious about this and sort of almost like know your audience. And I say that in that, for example, and I'm sure you were part of this, Mark, when you do the post-scrimmage signings up on the concourse and all the kids that usually don't go to games and they want your autograph on the team poster, like that thing, you shouldn't charge for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like balance what you should give away and what you think is earned for these players.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to need to strike that balance in each local community, because I think that will turn people off if you got a bunch of little kids,
Right.
you know, with a little tip jar putting $5 in before you get, you know, Johnny's autograph on the poster that you're going to see at the sub shop down the street.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been wanting name, image, likeness since I was sitting on the bench at Ohio State, and I look into the crowd and see thousands of people wearing Club Trail shirts, and I could not profit a dime off of any of that. And I remember thinking this is very bizarre, because I was not under scholarship at the time, so like I had to follow the NCAA rules while at the same, because you know, like the argument is always like you don't need any money on top of what you're already getting. You have a scholarship. That's what you're getting paid. And I was like, I'm not getting a scholarship either. I have no
You
scholarship.
gotta give me something here.
I have no scholarship. I cannot cash in on this. What is going on? But no, I'm here now. I'm talking to Andy Katz. I'm talking to Tate Frazier
Yeah,
at this
there you
beautiful
go.
Fox set. None of that would have been possible without my experience. So I came out a winner. But Andy, we appreciate you making time
Thank
for us.
God you didn't go to the G League.
Yeah, okay, if I'd have gone to the G League, who knows where I'd be right now. Go work on that forehand. Go work on charging the net, whatever else in
Enjoy
your tennis
Newport,
game.
yeah.
Enjoy Newport, and we'll check back in throughout the offseason for sure when we need to.
Please do.
All right, there we go. Thank you, Andy Katz. We appreciate Andy coming on the show. Hopefully, elbow is great. The sleeve holds that elbow in tight, and he has a great
dying,
summer
dude.
playing tennis.
I gotta see.
You see how offended he was when I said pickleball? I didn't know that was like a tennis people were upset that you think that they have to move on to pickleball. But
Yeah.
I thought it was a choice. You could play either one or the other.
Yeah. He's I do love too. We got a clip of like nobody watches the G League and nobody wants to play in the G League. We need to splice that, and anytime we get G League announcements, we just like put that out, and just Andy Katz being like, nobody cares.
Yes.
Nobody cares.
Yes, it was great. It was
so
great.
good.
We needed that. I needed that energy.
All right, shout outs, closeouts. What do we got?
Let's talk about Pat Baldwin Jr.
Yes,
Who
yes.
decided not to go to the G League, not to go to Duke, which are usually the top two options
Yep.
for a 5-star these days. He decided to play for his dad at UW Milwaukee. There were a lot of comments saying they went from 700 fans to 17,000 fans. I don't know if it was like that, but it was a nice reminder that, you know, family's first in these types of situations, and he chooses his dad over the bag.
Top 5 recruit, I believe.
Yeah.
Top 5.
You know how
pick,
this works,
maybe?
though.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
longer
yeah.
you wait not to commit, the higher you move up the rankings as a 5-star. But, you know.
It is exciting. I love when this happens. I love when guys stay home, which you know, can be geographical, and you go to your little. That's why the great example is Zion and Clemson. I wanted that so badly. I know you wanted him to go to North Carolina.
Yeah.
He goes to Duke. I want him to go to Clemson because he's like from the area. I love when guys do that. When guys play for their dads, I also love that, and especially a situation like this where that's, you know, if he tells his dad, I'm going to play for Duke, I don't think his dad is upset at all. He's like, yeah, I understand, son. That makes a ton of sense. So.
Yeah, no, and I'm happy for you. But then you think about some of the great father-son pairings in history. We got Dick Bennett, Tony Bennett. We got
Yep.
Press Maravich, Pistol Pete, of course, Kevin Willard, Ralph Willard. List goes on. There's so many options.
Doug McDermott,
Yeah.
Greg McDermott.
There you go.
Is-
Ray McCallum
We've asked this
and
before.
Ray McCallum Jr.
We've asked this before, yeah. And I remember people gave us answers, but then I forget what those answers were because I'm an idiot. Mike Bibby's the one that comes to mind as his dad was a coach, and he didn't go play for his dad, and he went somewhere else. Who's like is he the best? God,
I mean,
I
guess their dad was high school. I was about to say their
who's the
earliest.
best that like didn't play for their dad when they very well could have, or everyone. I don't know how to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why did you not play for your dad again? You're like, because I'm better than that, or like.
Honestly, it's not the same, but Scott May and Sean May, the fact that Sean May went to Carolina. I mean, not to say Scott May was the coach, but it did feel very much like you're
felt like a big
spiting the
betrayal,
family.
yeah.
So.
I was at Assembly Hall when he came back to play, and I've never heard people boo as loud as they did every time Sean May did anything.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana
was
fans
brutal.
were
It
upset
was
when they
brutal.
showed Scott May in the Final Four. They're like, don't show him. He's not related. They don't know each other.
Oh, man, it was absolutely brutal. That's exciting. I saw Patrick Baldwin Jr., his quote was, I will be playing for my dad in Milwaukee. I had some great options, which made me not rush through the process. The thought of playing for my dad was too good to pass up. In today's day and age, you see mid-majors having great success. Most recently, Loyola and Oral Roberts. So, you know, I think UW Milwaukee should be sending gift baskets to Sister Jean.
Yeah.
And basically the entire SEC, because we know that Oral Roberts beat Florida Gave Arkansas.
Embarrassed Florida.
Embarrassed Florida.
Don't know if we'll ever see Florida come back from this. Yes.
I don't know how you can. And then Arkansas, who had a great year, and obviously, we're on the must bus, and we're excited for what Arkansas, the future, and how great of a season they had this year going to the Elite Eight. But we got to say, man, Oral Roberts gave them all they could handle.
Yeah.
And without those things happening, does Patrick Baldwin go to UW Milwaukee? I don't know. I'm reading his quote, so there's that.
And if you're him, you look at like a Ja Morant, you look at a Dame Lillard, you look at a CJ McCollum. The list goes on. I mean, if you are talented, you can go somewhere. We all know where you are. We'll find you.
Let's do a fun
NBA.
exercise. Go back and forth. Things you know about UW Milwaukee other than Patrick Baldwin going there.
Okay.
And we'll just go back and forth until one of us runs out of things we know. Go.
It's in Milwaukee.
Bruce Pearl coach there.
All right.
There we go. And we're done. What else we got?
Shout out to UW Green Bay. I know that's where Dick and Tony Bennett were. That's my extent there. I just want to shout out to the Hall of Fame. That was a great moment this weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously Vanessa Bryant pretty much stole the show there. But those three guys in the class we talked about on Friday, I thought that was a great moment for basketball.
Well, one thing I meant to bring up when we were talking about that, Kobe and Garnett, you could make an argument, and I will right this second, in
Please.
fact, that the one and done era exists because of those two guys, because they come out of high school and they're so good that all these high school kids are like, Jonathan Bender's like, I'm the next Kevin Garnett.
Yep.
Watch this.
Sebastian Telfair.
Everyone was like, I'm going to be Kobe or
Yep.
KG. I'm going to come out, which, like, they have the freedom to do that. But then eventually the NBA was like, this is ridiculous. We have 20 high schoolers coming out every year, and you guys all suck.
Yep.
And we don't want to have to waste bench space and all that. So we have Kobe and Garnett to thank for the one and done era of college basketball. Kevin Durant never goes to Texas. If Anthony Davis doesn't go to Kentucky, if not for Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant. There you go.
There you go. Thank you, Kobe.
So,
thank you, KG. Thank you, Tim Duncan. I mean, my goodness, what a great guy. So that was good. And then shout out J. Cole. That was another basketball thing this weekend. 3 points in his debut. Felt very much like one time I scrimmaged at Carolina with the real team. It wasn't everybody was there, but I got to like play with them. And it was just kind of like stay out of the way. That was those are the rules, and you get your buckets when you can. Get a nice free throw and a technical. Like, that's good to see.
You got a technical?
No, well, he got to shoot the technical free throw.
Oh, he got the technical. Oh, yeah.
So, like, you got to get the stat padding. We like to see that from his team. Shout out to the Patriots. I'm a big Patriots fan, so good to see them 1-0.
The J. Cole BAL jersey. That's what you wear to Coachella.
That is, I know.
And I'm wearing the Mac McClung.
For sure. And then I'm going to tell people why J. Cole is not performing at Coachella because they don't pay enough money.
I'm going to rip through some other shout-outs here. Shout out to Foster Lawyer transferring to Davidson.
This was a big deal. The new Steph Curry.
Some are calling him.
Yeah,
Steph 2.0.
Who needs Kellen Grady? We got Foster Lawyer.
You know what? Forget it. Sorry, Mac McClung Beijing Ducks jersey. I'm wearing the Foster Lawyer. Will they unretire 30? They haven't retired 30, right? Because he didn't graduate. Because Steph never graduated from Davidson. I love that, by the way.
There's a chance.
I love that rule that they're like, you have to graduate. We're not retiring.
Well, Wake Forest has done the same thing to Chris Paul. Chris Paul is getting a degree right now from Winston-Salem State and is saying that he wants to have his jersey at Winston-Salem State instead of Wake Forest. So we're going to have to update our show when we talk about Wake Forest. We cannot mention Chris Paul anymore.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that the university's like, Steph, the whole reason anybody knows anything about us is because of you.
Yes.
But you didn't
you got to graduate. You got to go to class.
Sorry.
He's like, okay.
Get your ass back to class.
I'll never come here.
Also, Danny Peters, my former walk-on brethren, my walk-on partner in crime for 4 years at Ohio State, was my college roommate all 4 years. Not necessarily when we would go on the road. We only lived together like 1 year, but you know what I mean? Like the whole 4 years we were playing basketball together. We were always roommates on the road. He was on Sean Miller's staff at Arizona. He was not kept around by Tommy Lloyd, but he has landed on his feet at Xavier. So Danny Peters back in Ohio, excited for him.
So we got to throw up the X.
He grew up a UC guy. His dad was on Huggins' staff at UC, so I'm curious to see how. I already texted him and said, if you guys lose to UC, I'm going to accuse you of shenanigans and you threw the game. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
I'm a UC guy. I'm a Wes Miller guy, so
That's
apologies,
true.
Danny Peters.
That's
but
true.
You know what it is. Bearcats for life.
That's true. I got to become a Xavier guy now, I guess.
That's our show.
There
we
we
do the
go.
rivalry.
Crosstown shootout.
Yes.
We should go.
Perfect.
We should go.
Man, zip them up.
Let's go to the crosstown shootout.
One of the greatest
this year.
fights I ever saw live in college basketball. Unbelievable. Honestly, that day I was scared for North Carolina Duke. I was like, we might not be the #1 rivalry anymore. These guys are really about it. So. What a time.
2 more shout outs. Adam Sandler was playing pickup basketball. That video is going viral and everyone's talking about it. And I just love
it's very Prince vibes. Yeah.
I love it so much. I love that he's married to the game. God bless you, Adam Sandler.
He never stopped playing basketball. Go look at the movies. I mean,
and then
that's what he does.
shout out to Justin Fields, who I saw pictures / videos / whatever else of him in a Bears uniform, and I think I'm a Bears fan now, so I just wanted to say that at the end when no one's listening.
I've been
anymore.
there. I've been there.
I know, so I've taken the mantle from you.
Yeah. I mean, good luck. I hope it works out better than it did for me, because let me just tell you, I turned on the city of Chicago halfway through it. I'm like, stop talking about
I've
Trubisky.
picked up all of the baggage that you have dropped, and I've said, I will take this. I am now a Bears fan.
I want Josh Allen just to get hurt in one half so that Mitch Trubisky can light it up for like 3 touchdowns, and then I just say, Chicago, you're the curse. Yeah. You're the curse. It's not Mitch's fault.
Is that it? You got anything else?
That's it. That's it.
All right. Pacers Hornets.
Oof.
On Tuesday. If that game does not tear this podcast apart, which it very well may.
Good.
We will be back on Friday with another show, but my God, I'm not
we'll
making
know
any
who's
promises.
in the playoffs at that point.
Yeah, I'm not making any promises because my beloved Pacers go down to your beloved. I can't do it. Goodbye.
I mean,
See you
come on,
guys Friday.
Hornets. Come on, Hornets, please. Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.